Ndị be anyị kenekwenụ m unu. Anyị si ka nkonye chidi ya zelụkwa. Anyị si n'ụbọchị nketa adịrị n'ala Igbo na mma, na ọ ya dịrị anyị mma n'Eke, dịrị anyị mma n'Orie, dịkwazịrị anyị mma n'Afọ. Ụzọ anyị ọnọ nke ndị Igbo ji biri, na ọ ya dịrị anyị Igbo na mma, na anyị ya dịka echi na-eche ada agwụ agwụ. Dịka o siri ihe mere anyị ji ewutere onye bụ ozi n'ọnụ Igbo, mana ọ bụ ụmụnna anyị ka anyị na-agwa ka ha wee ghọta n'onu nke anyị na-anụ gbasịta maka ebe ife na-eme n'obodo nọ n'ime ya. N'ụbọchị nke taata, ifu na-eji ike ugbu a bụ ihe nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Michael Ọkpara kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ and Peter Mba gbasịta maka ya bụ ka o si ada na-akpọtụ na the Eastern Legion. So mmachọkwunu tee ntị na ana wee nụ ihe nwanne anyị were ikwu n'iru akwụkwọ bụ Michael Ọkpara. Ị ga-esi ebe ife gaba alụ ka ị dropụra your own comment n'iru akwụkwọ ka anyị mara ife iche n'ụdị nke gị gbasịta maka ihe ndị a niile Michael Ọkpara kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ. All right, over to you, sir.
Tonight I'm joined by James Eze. He's a poet, musician, and critic. He is the CEO of Udala Tree Concept. I like emphasizing on the Udala Tree Concept. Another day you're coming here, you'll bring one from Udala one.
Incidentally, Udala is in season.
So I think you have your work cut out. You're welcome, James Eze.
Thank you so
to
much.
The Eastern Eye. So, I think I should ask it, where is the Southeast right now?
That is a very massive question to ask, Alex, because this region, incidentally, used to be such an inspiration to other struggling nations. I'm not talking about states, but nations across the world at the dawn of independence. We're all familiar with what M.I. Okpara, the premier of the Eastern region, was able to achieve, and how the region was at some point adjust the fastest growing economy, in the world at that time. So, unfortunately, when you actually look at the region as a whole, we have only 85 out of the 774 local government areas in the country. And that doesn't seem to me to be a very, very massive geography. The Southeast region is incidentally the smallest region in the entire country. And going by the structure of the Nigerian economy and the fact that allocation of resources is usually determined by the size of local governments, the number of local governments, you can see that the Southeast is actually, has been left with the short end of the stick, of the economic stick, so to speak. Regardless, the Southeast region is also regarded as one of, at the moment, one of the economically buoyant regions, in the sense that when you look at the 10 poorest states in the country, it's only Ebonyi State that as at September 2024 rated at number 4. No other Southeast state appeared, in the top 10. I think that's commendable. But if you also look at Ebonyi State that is so rated, you find out that it is not gloom and doom all through for Ebonyi, because the previous governor left a legacy of some of the best network of roads in the region once again. So even in the midst of bad news, there are still some, positives to take away from Ebonyi State. And then you look at the region as it is at this moment. I think that the economic outlook is bright. I think we have a few states that are doing well comparatively. I think that the positives that are coming out of Abia State with Dr. Alex Oti, weaving some magic in terms of building the basic infrastructure upon which a robust economy can stand in time is very, very positive. I mean, you cannot discountenance the import of Alex Oti bringing Julius Berger, for instance, to build a road in Abia State. Now, if you know the history of Abia State, and with regards especially to bad governance, so to speak, you can see that Oti's tenure is a clear departure from the norm, at least for a state that is as immensely gifted both in human and natural resources as Abia, to have been stifled by previous leaders that lacked the kind of ambition and aggression that we are seeing in Oti. I think we have so much to look forward to coming from Abia. And when you also look at Anambra State at the moment, it's very gratifying to see that finally the outcry by the people of Anambra, the clamor for public safety in Anambra State has been finally, responded to by the governor. Mr. Governor, as he chooses to call himself, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, penultimate week responded with a number of measures to check the onslaught of kidnappers and other petty criminals in the state. And in the past 1 week, we have been witnesses to the outcome of that initiative. Once again, security is fundamental to economic development in the southeast, especially in Anambra. With Anambra's troubled history of insecurity that dates back to Boysoye, dates back to several specific era of criminal underworld kingpins, like Derrick Mama, like quite a number of them. We also had a period when the Bakassi boys held sway to the present era. You can see that one of the things that anybody who aspires to lead Anambra must consider as his number one priority is security. How do you overcome the monster of insecurity? Because it seems that Anambra never really quite completely shakes that off. And it is not without explanation. Anambra, with the presence of Onitsha, and the concentration of industries in that axis, in Newi, Onitsha, or Zobula axis, there is obviously, nothing surprising about the influx of people, as many entrepreneurs as criminals and small-time thieves. So, and that's on the other side. If you also look at Imo State, I think Governor Hope Uzodinma has been battling with extreme criminality in Imo, and he had gone on for quite some time. But the happy thing is that we have also come to realize that the ebb and flow of criminal activities in Imo State is on the down low at the moment. There used to be a time when there were series of military operations and series of offensives in the Olu area to check the excesses of criminals in that region. But at least we have not heard about that in recent times. So, and we know that what has been holding the southeast down in the past how many years now is insecurity. Enugu has also become a sparkling example of visionary leadership and purposive administration. As you have seen, I live in Enugu incidentally. Although I shuttle between Anambra and Enugu a whole lot. So we have all seen what Governor Pitamba has been able to do in the past 1.5 years, going to 2 now. We have so much to look forward to in Enugu. The urban renewal has left so many people in awe of the vision of Governor Pitamba. We have also seen his activities, the transformation of the Afiogige market in Soka area, as well as the Holy Ghost Park. Those places are becoming oases of excellence. You also look at the International Conference Center and his efforts in the aspect of security, the establishment of the Command and Control Center and installation of CCTV cameras have inspired a wave of confidence in Enugu especially, and ushered a new threshold for hope amongst not just the residents but also investors both within and without. Just last week we witnessed the signing of a major partnership with it's actually a landmark partnership with the Landmark Group, so to speak, for the renovation and repositioning and rebranding of the iconic Nike Lake. All these things give hope for a brilliant future for the Southeast. But Alex, what actually keeps me happy about the Southeast, and I think that any Igbo man, regardless of where you live, should be very proud of this moment, is the fact that the federal government just last year, set up the Southeast Development Commission, which to my mind is the rupture that we have been waiting for. That is a departure from the past, because for the first time we've been given a chance, really, to come up with a development concept, that will guide us into the next century. And now the ball is in our court.
That's right.
And it's up to us what we do with it.
Okay, I just want to take you up on something you mentioned while you were responding to my first question, and that's about the size, the land size of Southeast Nigeria. Is the size of Southeast Nigeria a setback? Do you consider it a setback?
Not really. It can only be a setback if our leaders are not visionary enough. For instance, was it yesterday or today that I read in the news that Governor Peter Mbah plans to set up greenhouse farming initiatives in 17 local governments of Enugu State. The intention is to boost, certain agricultural production and prepare it for export, especially with the approaching conclusion of the cargo wing of the Caribbean International Airport. And that to me is visionary. I have seen greenhouse farming, and to my mind, you can really achieve a lot. I mean, for the government to be even talking about export shows that the scale of production that is anticipated from this initiative is enormous. It should be able to meet domestic needs and then have enough balance, enough excess for export. And that is how vision works. So the size of the state, the region, cannot be a setback if our leaders understand what to do and are determined to come up with the kind of vision that will trigger development, and because the basic thing is to understand what is suitable for which part of the region.
All right.
You understand? And I remember that M.I. Okpara already gave us a blueprint, because if you look at that, if you look at Okparanomics and you see what that visionary pioneer was able to do in the old Eastern region, we don't really need to tweak so much. Just follow that same pattern and you get to your destination. And what I think is really at stake here are two things: vision and commitment. Yes.
I'll keep those words somewhere: vision and commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to ask you, where would you like the Southeast to be in 10 years?
In 10 years, by the grace of God, I am a Christian. So pardon me if I sound, a little religious. by the grace of God, I would want to see the southeast of Nigeria emerge as a leading sub-economy in West Africa. Leading in the sense that we already know those areas that we need to enhance to grow. Look at Nnewi and the automobile industry there. I have visited quite a number of them. I've been to Innocent like 2 times. I visited Chikasen. I have been to which other the Agulu and Ajulu Uzodike's cable manufacturing firm there. One of the things that people don't know is the first job that I did when I left secondary school was to work in a factory in Nnewi, Edison brake pads and lining. It's a factory set up by Edwin Obichebendo in what's the name of this part of Nnewi? I think Nnewichi, and we were manufacturing. I'm talking about the early 90s, where the Edwin Obichebendo's factory was manufacturing brake pads and linings. Think about that. If not for the precarious nature of the Nigerian business environment and the lack of reliability of the federal government policies, during the military administration, the military era, imagine that the fact that Nnewi entrepreneurs were already manufacturing such critical auto spare parts in the late 80s to early 90s. If there had been continuity, where would the Southeast regional economy be now? I just gave you an instance. So we have such places. We know where we can play, to advance our lot in the Southeast. Look at Aba. What can the Igbo genus not produce in Aba? Look at Enugu and all the natural endowments, all the waterfalls, all the lakes, all the sublime topography for hiking and what have you. And think about somebody setting up a theme park in Milliken Hill, for instance, and building a Disney-like kind of tourist destination that will attract. Even internal tourism is enough. I am active on social media, and I know that from November to early January, Enugu has been all over social media for just the little. I wouldn't say it's so little, but at least people look at it and it holds a lot of promise. People look at what Uba has done with the urban renewal in Enugu, and the excitement is enormous. I know sometimes when I come across comments, people are asking about how they could move to Enugu and what to expect and look areas. These are, the internal interest is enormous. So imagine if we begin to build things that will drive tourism in places like Oguta Lake, in places like Agulu Lake, and we have so many such places. Our home waterfall in we know the local government here. The first day I went to that place, I couldn't believe I was still on the planet Earth. It's awesome. It's mind-boggling what nature left there. I have yet to see the Nsude pyramids. This is only about tourism. Now, if our leadership in the Southeast is visionary enough to look at how to create startup ecosystems across the region. I was excited when my friend Arinze Chiloofia displayed something on his WhatsApp status yesterday. I think they have something like what do they call it? Co-space? Oh. That the new terms, this thing that tech whiz, what they do sometimes, they have co-working spaces, create an environment where all these tech kids can go and come up with ideas, come up with designs, come up with initiatives that will drive the future. I visited the Cambridge Innovation Center in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 2019, and I saw the place where, for the first time, the Cambridge Innovation Center is almost just like what's the name of that place in San Francisco, where where these guys, all these tech leaders explode. Okay. Something Valley, Silicon Valley. So I saw for the first time, at the Cambridge Innovation Center, young stars in cubicles with internet facility and every other thing there, looking into the void and coming up with ideas. And just immediately after those silent zones, there is an open space with loud music, food and drinks and what have you. And all over that place were venture capitalists, all these big guys, big industries looking for people with ideas to invest in. And I was thrilled by that. So what we have there is a situation where you have these youngsters who have studied their environment and who are obsessed with coming up with initiatives that will make life easier for people. So they are also there, so that when they come up with these ideas, they meet in that open space with the venture capitalists and they discuss their ideas. And if the venture capitalists consider those ideas worthy of investment, they will put their monies there. And before you know it, you have, the Mark Zuckerbergs of this world. You have all these guys who came up with WhatsApp. There are so many of them now. I remember that met somebody there, one Nena Okoro from Imo State, who was actually working with NASA, but she came there to come up with some tech ideas. And what struck me was that the way this thing works. You don't have to be a scientist, you're a mathematician for you to operate in the ecosystem. It's just, do you have the daring do, and are you really innovative? Do you have a very good imaginative mind? So if our leadership is to begin to think in that direction and move away from the anachronistic ways, the old understanding of the way economics works, and begin to set up such things, and what I expect is in the next 10 years that we would have been able to summon enough, not just courage, but daring do to set up, something that will probably rival the Silicon Valley, or give our young stars the advantage that they need to compete with their contemporaries across the world.
All right. Thank you so much, James. We'll take a break here on the Eastern Eye. When we return, I'll find out from James Eze, who is a poet, critic, musician, and the CEO of Udala Tree Concept, what he thinks are the missing links to sustainable development in Southeast Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Well, welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. It's a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Obodo. I still have my guest here, James Eze. And I'd like to find out from him, you've painted a lovely picture that we would like to see. And before we get to the Silicon Valley, there are probably things that are hindering the Southeast from actually taking off from the ground right now. The launch pad is very, very important. So what are those missing links you may have identified that are pulling down those giant strides that we could have recorded in Southeast Nigeria?
Thank you so much, Alex. I think that our political leaders need to do more. What has actually hampered our growth as a region is the fact that the Southeast governors do not seem to have much going between them as leaders of the same region. I think they're operating in silos. We have individual stars. There might be a silent competition going on between them. The Igbo world does not abhor competition. In fact, we admire it, we covet it. But when competition makes it difficult for leaders to come together and think for the region, everybody suffers. For instance, one of the things that have bogged development down in the southeast is insecurity, and this is something that is coming to a region that had hitherto been Nigeria's safest region until a few years ago, when we know how and when the rain began to beat us. Now, the Southeast governors of the present era, I do not see them coming together to address some of these issues. I do not see them having regular meetings. No matter what their challenge, their specific individual challenges are, I think that, we largely share the same challenges. We largely share the same difficulties. We share the same aspirations. We are the same stock of people. So why is it difficult for our leaders to come together? Just the other day, I read that some industrialists in the southeast came together about a week or so ago. People like Koscharis, people like somebody in Guhu, who is in Lagos Business School, and some other very prominent industrialists came together and discussed how to build an economy and tackle some of these developmental challenges that we are having here, independent of the political leaders. They actually felt challenged to do something. And I when I read that, I felt very happy, because we can't have the caliber of entrepreneurs and industrialists that we have in the southeast, and we are faced with the same existential threat from year to year, and there is no response, no serious response by the business leaders who trace their ancestry to the southeast. So I was happy to read that, but I would also want to see more. Now that Ohaneze has a new leadership, I would want to see Ohaneze define its role beyond the political and cultural aspects of our lives, and begin to look into how to galvanize activities and thoughts around the economy. The economy. Who was this American president that said is the economy stupid? Was it I don't know if it was Al Gore or Bush or whoever. Al Gore was vice president, or I think it was Bill Clinton. Is the economy stupid? So no matter what we are doing, no matter what we are saying, no matter our aspirations as a people, it is the economy that counts. Because if you have a robust economy in the southeast, it will mean a whole lot to people, to dreams and aspirations. I particularly remember that one of the things that struck me when I left the university here in Enugu was that there were only two options for me as a young graduate who had just left the university. It was either I went to Lagos or Abuja. And in my time, I think Lagos was even the only option. Abuja was just coming into its own slowly. I had an offer in Abuja when I had arrived Lagos, and I didn't consider it because Lagos was the only viable part of the country. You understand?
You were certain, at least you either see someone that knows you or someone you know.
Absolutely. And the one of the thinkings then was that if you lived in Lagos and you lost your job, it wouldn't take you a donkey years to get a new one. And I had that at the back of my mind, because if you go to Abuja of the time, and something happened to you, you would be in the wild for a long time. And I had a few friends who actually suffered that fate. So when are we going to begin to look at these things? You know, build the economy, turn the East, the Southeast into a new economic bloc. We can have, Anambra has oil, Imo has oil, Abia has oil. At least 3 of the 5 southeastern states have oil. So there is oil exploration going on. There are other solid minerals, shared equally across the states. What are we doing to develop the non-oil economy of the southeast? These are some of the things that I think that if our leaders were having conversations, if they were having regular meetings, they should be able to look at how can the southeast develop on its own, away from the FAC and JAC, federal allocations. Is it not possible that we can build this economy into a formidable one using our genius, our so-called genius? Because why I'm saying this is, you and I are in Nigeria, and we saw what happened in Lagos in last December. That in December is said to have generated over 1.7 trillion naira. Within how many weeks? About 2 weeks, 2 intensive weeks. And Alex, that in December is a parody of the Igbo culture of mass return during Christmas.
But do you also have the slightest of idea how much Dirty December may have generated for Southeast Nigeria?
That's what we're saying.
No one has that record.
Because we are not organized.
Well, but it is possible to get it, isn't it, James?
Yes, it is.
Because if you look at it, if more people entered this region in December and early January, it can only mean one thing. When they enter here, they must eat, they must clothe, they must recharge their phones, they have to sleep somewhere.
The hotels.
So something happened. The GDP of the Southeast benefited from the Dirty December.
Absolutely.
So what's the problem?
So the problem is that we didn't see it coming, and we may have lost the initiative. Imagine, this has been a culture of the southeastern people going to decades, and suddenly Lagos, the private sector in Lagos began to look at it. The private sector in question is not even like the big corporates, but like the entertainment industry in Lagos.
Isn't there a misunderstanding of the situation?
Okay.
Some people who don't have any other place to go in Nigeria ended up in Lagos. Some people who don't have any other place to go in the Southeast ended up in Enugu. So either way, it's a win-win situation. But the only issue I see here is that there isn't an already made record of how much the Southeast made in terms of the inflow to the GDP from Dirty. This is just the Dirty December is just one of such illustrations.
Yes.
There's no way anybody would say that the Southeast did not benefit immensely.
Yes, of course. But I'm only looking at, since this has been our culture, how do we lend depth to it? How do we develop it now that I have seen what Lagos can do with its entertainment ecosystem with regards to Dirty December? We have so many things that we do in the Southeast that will bring people here. Yeah. The only thing we need to do is to have a very clear blueprint, and it can only be possible on the scale that Lagos has experienced last December if the Southeast governors are able to come together to look at this singular initiative. The movement is picking up momentum across the black diaspora, across the world. In the diaspora communities, if you are active on social media, you would have read so many Africans in the diaspora saying, look, I'm already making a reservation for next year. So there are so many very, creative ways we can approach this.
All right.
How about the people of the Southeast looking at how to boost the footfalls to their region?
Now you have mentioned it. That's where I'm headed.
Okay.
At the beginning of the program, you expressed your excitement about the landmark deal.
Yeah.
If you go to Anambra State. There is the Solution Park. There is a
Solution Fund Center.
Solution Fund Center.
Yes.
And if you also go to Abia State, there is an Enyimba Hotel renovation.
Okay.
Same thing in Imo State. They are renovating the Concord Hotel.
Okay.
Every part of the Southeast seems to be getting interested on welcoming more footfalls.
Yes.
So do you think that at the end of the day that they are ready for more people who want to come home?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the problem isn't in coming home. Is the home homely
enough? Alex, you have actually touched the key issue. And that is why I said that, you know, it has to be an intentional initiative of the Southeast as a region. Because we are contiguous.
But if that does not happen, what would you like to see in the 5 Southeast states? If they get it right individually, would it matter whether they locked hands to do it?
It wouldn't matter. But the only reason I think that it will be more successful if it becomes a regional initiative is, one, we are contiguous. Two, there are no boundaries as such.
No, the reason I'm saying this, because you've referenced Lagos a lot in this conversation.
Yeah.
But if you look at Lagos, you look at Ogun, you look at Oyo.
Yeah.
Lagos is not locking hands with those states the way you think. What has happened is that it's the overflow. When you go to these mega churches, you see overflow. They tell you that some people, they show in the big screen that there are some people sitting at the overflow.
Yeah.
So, is it not necessary to make sure that everything that needs to be fixed in Enugu is fixed? Everything that needs to be in order in Anambra is in order. Everything that needs to be in place in Ebonyi is in place. Everything that needs to be sorted out in Imo and Abia are sorted out. Isn't that what we need? Isn't that what we need in this region to give it that spark that you're talking about?
Yes, we need all the states to be homely, you know, enough for the footfalls. But there is one thread connecting the 5 states, and that is security. If I live in Okigwe, for instance, and I want to come to Enugu because Kolaboy is performing at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, I would like to feel safe enough to cross, what is this? Is it Umulolo? There's this dangerous Lokpanta. I would want to feel safe enough to cross Lokpanta at 8 p.m. and drive into Enugu to be part of Kolaboy's show. If I want to drive from Abakaliki or from Oka to Enugu to watch Jerik's show at the stadium, I'd want to feel safe enough to drive through Old Road, through Udi and Four Corner into Enugu at whatever time of the night. These are some of the missing links. The major issue, the only setback that I think we have is the inability of the ordinary people to feel safe, you know, safe enough to come out in the public. Public safety is the Achilles of Southeast development at the moment. Once the Southeast economic bloc is able to fix that, then everybody can develop at their own pace. I remember that when Governor Willie Obiano was in charge of Anambra State, he actually convened a Southeast Regional Security Summit, Southeast and Delta, and all the 5 Southeastern states plus Delta, Governor Kowa, were there at Amobia Governor's Lodge, you know, to brainstorm on how, you know, the states could cooperate, you know, on the matter of security.
Great. That's a great point you've made. And you've also shared your worry about the seeming inability of the governors to meet often.
Yes.
And it's almost manifesting. Yes. They have cause to meet each other once in a while, but they haven't held meetings at Southeast Governors Forum.
Yes.
How often would you like them to hold those meetings?
Because we are in almost a situation where you can call a state of emergency, with the Monday sit at home, with the spate of kidnappings and all kinds of crimes going on in different places. Let us not fool ourselves and think that because Enugu has been really relatively peaceful, so whatever is happening in other states is no skin off our nose. Of course, it should worry us. So they need to speak often. They need to come together often, maybe once a month, until they begin to see the situation improve security-wise. And that's not to make whatever they are doing, devoting a day in a month to discuss regional security is also a crucial part of their schedule of duty. Because if Enugu chases away criminals with its command and control and AI driven technology, and they take shelter in Ebonyi, are you listening to me? And they begin to operate from Ebonyi, for instance, or even make life unlivable to Ebonyi residents. We cannot also sit pretty here, because sometimes the media portrayal of a region matters. When the southeast region is discussed, if you have worked in the media houses in Lagos, they have excuse me, they allocated some space, some spaces. Various newspapers have regional spaces dedicated to stories from specific regions. Well, and I don't think that if the stories that come out from a particular region begin to send very dangerous alarms across the internet and the cyberspace, that it portrays anyone in good light.
We are totally out of time, but wow. I think I'll leave this as a food for thought. What are you saying about the Southeast to the rest of the world? That's a very big question. Some people just decide to exaggerate what's going on in their streets, in their local governments. You see a small smoke.
Ndị be anyị kwadalụ dị na ụmụ Igbo ka unu si wee na-esore anyị na Eastern News 24 ebe anyị si wetara ya bụ ozi ngalaba gbasata maka ya bụ ife na-eme na obodo nọ n'ime ya anụ nwere ụwa na-azọ n'ala Igbo, nke i were ikwu gbasata maka ihe ndị a niile ụmụnne anyị kpalụ n'ilu akwụkwọ gbasata maka Eastern Region, ka ife were ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ ife drọpụrụ anyị n'akara na comment section obumnobi gị, ife iche n'ụdị nke gị na-eme na ọ ya adị mma. Ngwadalụ dị na ụmụnne m ka emesịa nụ.